Coming up, I'm going to tell you how to know when it's too early to quit your job. And then EVP of Ramsey Education, Jim King, joins me for an exciting new initiative, and I'm going to coach you up. Let's go. Coaching you to have the competitive edge to make more money and experience more meaning. So we're going to help you increase your income and increase your impact. This is the Ken Coleman Show. I'm Ken, excited that you are with us. All right, so we've had extraordinary numbers of job quits over the last year and a half. In fact, we're now in a period of 13 straight months where over 4 million people have quit their job. So it's become a trend. And if you're one of those people that's been left behind and you saw a bunch of people leave, you couldn't help but wonder, well, maybe I should leave, right? And you take that phenomenon and then you combine it with who we are as humans. In other words, we humans are all about progress all of the time, right? We want progress all the time. If we're not progressing as fast as we'd like to progress, whether that be in our weight loss, our muscle gains, our followers on social media, our paycheck, our promotions at work, if we're not progressing fast enough, we start looking around, we start getting a little flighty, we start getting nervous. What's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with where I'm at? And so also we just start getting all this anxiety and stress about, wait a second, I'm not moving as quickly as I'd like to move. And it just creates a lot of stress. And so we are always looking for that. If we're not very careful, we're going to change seasons too quickly. Now, if there's anything that drives me nuts, it's the way our world works. And this is a retail cultural thing now. We change seasons too quickly. Let me give you an example. As soon as Valentine's Day is done, I mean, it might be like the second or third day after Valentine's Day, and I'm a sucker. I'm a husband and a father of 3 teens. So I routinely will get a text from Stacy on the way home. Hey, can you stop by the grocery store? We have a Kroger in our neighborhood. It's very convenient. And she'll say, hey, can you pick this up or this up or this up? So I'm always making these unscheduled trips to the grocery store. And I this sticks in my mind and it irritates me. It's always a couple days after Valentine's Day and I'm making a trip. And I think to myself, oh, the Valentine's Day candy is going to be on discount. I can score with my kids and my wife. My wife really loves peppermint patties. And so if I can score some Valentine's Day candy, it's always a win for me. And I remember this year, and I know I'm getting older, which means I'm getting crankier. But I remember this year seeing Easter candy already on the aisles. 2 days after Valentine's Day, Alex. I love Easter candy as much as anybody. Love me some Cadbury eggs. Don't get me started. But I was irritated. Why are we in such a hurry? All right, now let's just walk through this. This is going to really irritate the rest of you. This hits a lot of nerves when I talk about this, by the way, around the office. Now let's fast forward to where we are today. We're just a week or so past Labor Day. It wasn't even Labor Day, and I woke up early as I do. I'm up before everybody else in my house, and I set my coffee the night before, and my wife she buys our groceries most of the time, and so I go to get the cream out of the refrigerator. And what was in the front of my regular cream, Alex? Pumpkin spice cream. There's a lady out in the lobby that just went, yeah! And I understand we love pumpkin spice, but can we hold off on the pumpkin spice a little bit? I'm still wearing shorts when I golf. It's too soon. So case in point, the cafe here at Ramsey Solutions has pumpkin spice latte. Gonna have myself an early sip. Yeah, it's okay. Why do we need to rush into the pumpkin spice? I'll tell you why. Because our world is all about marketing and they're driving a messaging to us. So here's what's gonna happen. True story, okay? Once Halloween is over, you watch. The next day, Christmas is up. I love Christmas. I'd like to have Thanksgiving first. Now there's pressure on me. I got to drag all the freaking Christmas decorations out of my attic, and I got to get them up before Thanksgiving. I'd like to put on 5 or 6 pounds of gravy and mashed potatoes and turkey and then work it off. But no, I got to do that now because everybody else has got their Christmas decorations up before Thanksgiving. Some of you are going, Ken's lost his mind. He's not on his meds. Why is he talking about this on today's show? I'll tell you why. This cultural phenomenon of marketing and messaging and selling us stuff is exactly what we do in our professional career when we try to change seasons too quickly. You've been on the job 6 months, dear 25-year-old friend, and you want a promotion. The data says that millennials and then Gen Z, which is behind them, they want to come out of college making 6 figures. Slow down, young grasshopper. Life has seasons. Our careers have seasons. I don't look at the word career as a specialty. I look at a career as a body of work. So I could be in nursing, then I could move into physical therapy. I could then become an accountant. And over my life of work, my body of work, that's my career. And it's important for us, those of us who want to do meaningful work, that we understand this about our humanness and realize there's a temptation that we all face, and it can be a good thing to desire progress. But if we favor progress and we become obsessed with progress, we will try to move from season to season too quickly. So just as we were putting Christmas stuff on the shelf, the day after Halloween, we're getting into work and we're experiencing a little bit of trial. Maybe the training wasn't as good as we thought it should be. Maybe I'm crushing it early on and I think I might be ready for a promotion, but the powers that be don't. And what do we start to do? Well, everybody else has got their Christmas stuff out, so I got to put my Christmas stuff out, right? And that's how it all started. One retailer did it, and the other retailer said, well, they did it, we got to do it. We start to focus on all this cultural external stuff. And if we're not careful, we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot because we'll make a change too quickly instead of going, wait a second. When I decided to move into this job, I knew it was the right rung on the ladder. And thus, I've got to stay long enough to be able to climb the ladder. There is a huge temptation to obsess about the next and miss what we need to do, who we need to become in the now, and then ultimately sacrifice the next. Don't sacrifice the next because you're so obsessed with getting there. It is the now that we need to win, and that sets us up for the next. But our culture is always about pushing the next promotion, the next pay raise, the next fun thing, the next holiday, the next version of the really cool thing we got. No sooner do I get an iPhone, whatever the crap the number is, that they got a new one coming out, and I feel less than. It was one of my colleagues. Hey, I got the iPhone, whatever number. And I go, well, I ain't got this one. And they're like, that's so 6 months ago. Stop the insanity. A career worth having, a body of work where you are doing what the creator of the universe put you on the planet to do, and you are contributing the results that only you can contribute, that doesn't happen overnight. Took me 9 years from the time I decided to switch from the path I was on to broadcasting and work my way up to get to this opportunity. I was reminded this weekend why I do what I do. We're in Phoenix, Arizona, speaking, answering questions, hugging people that are in tears, and helping with transformation. Folks, I didn't get to do this overnight, and you aren't going to get to do the work that you love overnight either. Hang in there. According to Glassdoor, the average job offer attracts over 250 applicants. If you've made it to the interview, you've already made a great impression. So now is the time to showcase how you are the best choice for the role. That's why we created How to Win the Interview. This free guide will walk you through the 5 strategies to help you stand out amongst the competition. With just some intentionality, you can prepare yourself to win the interview. Go to kencoleman.com/interview. All right, I'm fired up a little bit early today. That pumpkin spice latte did nothing for me at all. Nothing. Didn't do anything for me. Very excited about this segment. One of the things I'm gonna tee this up, and I'm telling you, I've never been more excited professionally in all my life. I'm working on a couple of resources with Ramsey Education, which puts our financial curriculum out in public schools all across the nation. And now I'm bringing my content to help teachers and parents prepare their kids for their unique future, because the education system is failing our kids. It's broken. You know it. I know it. We're creating test takers because it's all about memorization and regurgitation. We're not creating pathfinders, which is about imagination and inspiration. And I'm going to disrupt it. Teachers want me to do it. Parents want me to do it. So I'm going to really be fired up, and I'm excited about it. That's coming. More details. So to that end, I asked our executive vice president of Ramsey Education, Jim King, to join me recently in the studio. We had a very important conversation. If you care deeply about educating the next generation to be able to handle basic personal finances, and you want to make an impact, you're going to love this conversation. Let's roll it. Here's my conversation with Jim King. Well, Jim, I'm excited to have you on the show because I want our audience to know tactically how Ramsey Education is helping close that financial literacy gap that we see in the United States with our students.
Yeah, Ken, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to talk with you today. So, as a company here at Ramsey, we've been working with folks for over 30 years on how to handle their money, and it never fails. So many people always say, man, I wish I had learned this stuff in high school. Yeah. Why didn't they teach us this stuff when we were in school, right? We hear that all the time. And so several years ago, we created a high school curriculum called Foundations in Personal Finance, and now we're taught in thousands of schools all around the country, and we've had over 6 million students go through it, and it's just been a great way for students to learn how to handle their money before they become an adult and make a bunch of mistakes.
You said it so well just a moment ago. It seems pretty obvious that kids need to learn this stuff. It feels like a no-brainer, but it's not that simple. Well, what's the environment like that we're facing?
Man, I tell you, it is a no-brainer. You would think everybody would be teaching this because this is the one subject that no matter what you do for a career, it impacts you. It impacts everybody. How to handle money, personal finance. So you need to know how to do that. And so the way that we've approached it over the years is we look at it as a preventative medicine. How do we prevent these students that when they graduate high school, go into college, go into the workforce, start their career, that they're not making dumb mistakes and dumb decisions with money?
Now, I've heard that there are some states that are requiring this.
That's right.
How many, and then do we see this becoming a trend?
Yeah, it's definitely heading in the right direction. Just a few months ago, there was less than 10 that had any kind of requirements, right? Now we've got 15 states across the country that have a standalone personal finance graduation requirement. That means if you're in high school, you need to take a semester course in personal finance before you can graduate. And so that's awesome. We call those our gold states, right? Those are the ones that's awesome. They're teaching, the full semester. But there are other states too that will teach some of the topics, so at least the students are getting exposed at some level, but it's not a mandate.
Okay, so what's keeping it from becoming a mandate when this is such common sense legislation, certainly in 15 states? What's the bridge that we got to build?
Yeah, there's really two things that cause issues for us. One is the time to teach it. In the school day, you only have so many hours in the school day, so you can't just jam a class in there kind of thing. So there's a lot of work there. But the other thing is the funding. They launch these mandates and they do it as an unfunded mandate, and so schools have to do it, but they don't have the dollars to do it. And so what you've had is we've got these companies that will provide free resources to give to the schools, but they're banks, they're credit card companies, so they obviously have a hidden agenda wanting to get in front of these students. And so several years ago, we here at Ramsey, we created our own sponsorship program. So we work with folks that come alongside us, sponsor the curriculum, so we can provide it to the schools also.
All right, so let's unpack that a little bit. So can an individual like myself, plus a small business or even a larger business, actually do this?
Yeah, absolutely. All of those. We have a lot of small businesses across the country. We have a lot of individuals, and we have some large companies too. And what they'll do is they'll sponsor the curriculum for schools that can't afford it. And the reason that they're doing it, Ken, the main reason is they really want to be plugged in and give back to their community. They want to help students, they want to help teachers, they want to help the schools. And so they really care deeply about helping their communities win and be successful. A lot of them are already tied to the Ramsey tribe, if you will. They really believe in our message, and they really want to make sure that these students don't make the same mistakes that they made when they were becoming adults. And so they just really want to help.
Yeah, so I asked your team to provide me with the basic numbers, and I was really pleasantly surprised that an individual or a business or a nonprofit or a church or any organization can sponsor an entire school for only $3,500.
That's right.
That kind of impact for that kind of money is great, but let's be honest, some people can't cut a check for $3,500. What could an individual do? How can they make an impact in this sponsorship program?
Yeah, we have what we call a sponsorship fund, and people can just give whatever they want. want. They have $5, they want to give $5. They want to give $50, $100, and then we'll collectively take those dollars and then we help out a school that is in need, that have what we call a raised hand school. Say, hey, I want to teach it, but I don't have the dollars. And so people can get involved with very little investment. And so it generally runs around $30 to $40 a student. And so once we get enough money to sponsor a school, we would do it that way too.
Wow. So only $35 to $40 a student.
Yeah.
I think we can all make some type of impact with that small of an investment. Before I let you go, this may be new to maybe people who know Ramsey Solutions, but don't realize about the sponsorship program, which is the engine behind all of this impact in the country. You've been overseeing this program since its inception. Just give people a snapshot as to the real life impact through emails, letters, teacher testimonials, parents.
Yeah.
How does this really play out day in and day out?
Yeah, that's great. We get these testimonies all the time from teachers, and they share with us what their students are saying. And to date, one of my most prized possessions, I have it in my office, it's a 3-ring binder from one school district. It's about this thick, and it's got all these student letters of what they've written to their teacher about what the course meant to them. And they're talking about how they've seen their parents fight at home, and they can take this information home to help their parents. Or they don't have anxiety anymore about what life's going to be like when they graduate high school, because they're going to be on their own, some of these kids, right? And so it's all they hear about is all the debt and all the student loans and college credit cards, all that kind of stuff. And so it really brings a lot of sense of peace to them. But at the end of the day, Ken, and for your listeners that are really looking for career advice, if we can teach students how to handle their money and they can get out of high school and they're not saddled with student loan debt and make bad choices, then they can do what God's created them to do, whatever that is.
True.
They can follow their dreams. And personally, I've seen that with my own family. And my son at 23 years old doesn't have any debt, learned these principles early, and now he's running his own business and he's doing great.
Well, Jim, great stuff as always. I'm excited about partnering with you on this, and I think we're going to hear some great stories. And if you will, share some of these with us.
Absolutely.
And I want to bring them back to our audience because I'm excited about this.
Absolutely.
Thanks man, for being here.
Appreciate it.
All right, that is Jim King. Very, very important to me that we talk about this. Let me give you some backdrop on this. Ramsey Solutions conducted a Students and Money national research study. We polled 76,000 students. That's a massive study. Okay, just to give you an idea on the context for this. When you see a poll on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, whatever you watch, it's a political poll, a what is called a healthy sampling size is 1,000 adults. Okay, just from a statistic standpoint, and I don't understand it, all right? That side of my brain's completely dark. But I do know that a healthy poll can be established scientifically on 1,000 people. We talked to 76,000 students who took our personal finance course that Jim was just talking about. Here are a couple highlights of what they learned. 23% of them, which doesn't sound like a healthy number until you hear the backside of this, 23% said they were less likely to take out a student loan to pay for college. That's a huge number. Huge. You know what I think about college. I think the ROI in college is slipping and slipping and slipping. I say if college isn't the only way to get qualified to do what you want to do, or it's not the clear best way, don't go. If you want to party for 4 years, you can do that on your own. Why in the world would you mortgage your future because you want to have a experience? I know, it makes so many of you uncomfortable with that, but just, after you get over me stepping on your toes, think about the logic. And I don't really care if it bothers you. 80% learned how to create a monthly budget. 90% understand how personal insurance works, like home, auto, and life. And 87% understood how to pay income taxes. Here are the states, by the way. So if you're in the state, I'm going to make a special appeal to you. So hang on, 20 seconds. I'm going to really come at you. Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, North Carolina, Ohio, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia. If you're watching and listening in those states, for only $25 to $50, you can make a one-time or monthly donation at those amounts, and it'll help put one student through 2 semesters. Or if you have the financial wherewithal, $3,500 takes care of an entire school for 2 seasons. Go. KenColeman.com/sponsor. KenColeman.com/sponsor. If the thought of attending a networking event makes you break out in hives,
You're not alone. And I'll let you in on a secret. Networking in the traditional sense doesn't work, but genuine connection is all about relationships. That's why we created Networking the Right Way. This free guide is the low-pressure, high-impact way to overcome the awkwardness, build real relationships, and turn your connections into opportunities. To get the guide, go to kencoleman.com/network.
Of the people, by the people, for the people. My name's Ken, otherwise known as the man of the people. I'm paying attention to the headlines. I'm calling out horrible bossery, toxic leadership, bad political policy. I'll call it all out because I don't care. I'm an equal opportunity offender. If it hampers you, the people's ability to live the life that you were meant to live, I'm going to call it out. And boy, our YouTube clips are blowing up when I take on mighty Amazon. I suspect any day now, Alex, I'm going to get an email from them canceling my Prime membership because I'll buy from them. But like I said, they are creating a massive, massive problem. And we're going to unpack it here. 2 different articles. I got a lot to get to. Buckle up, kids. Here we go. First article. This is from Business Insider. This one's juicy. Here we go. Got to do this for our YouTube crazies. They like when I make that sound. GoPuff. Never heard of GoPuff in my life. But apparently GoPuff is a leading kind of warehouse delivery service. And they have recently hired 24 Amazon executives to come over and help run GoPuff. GoPuff is a $15 billion rapid delivery service. And they recently hired these new overseers from Amazon. And these people came in and obviously put a hyper focus on warehouse metrics. Okay. So they wanted managers to track processes like the time it took between a customer placing an order and then a warehouse worker starting to pack the order, or the time it took for a delivery driver to pick up a packed bag. I understand that. I got no problem with efficiency, right? I'm all about efficiency. I'm a big football fan. I want my offensive coordinator to run a really good practice. I want us to run the freaking play the right way so we can score touchdowns. I'm all for it. But dehumanizing people, abusing people in the name of efficiency is horrible leadership. And I'll call that out too. Back to the article. In one instance, a former GoPuff manager says he told his boss the warehouse missed a benchmark of 3 minutes. Listen to this, folks. 3 minutes. I want you to listen to this through the eye of a customer. All right, so picture you ordered something, and I want you to listen to this. The warehouse missed a benchmark of 3 minutes to start packing an order because one of the 2 employees on duty the previous evening had used the bathroom for a few minutes. Now, folks, they're monitoring this stuff. They didn't say the employee used the bathroom for 20 minutes. 20 minutes is too long. Either that or you need to go home or go to the ER. All right? We said a few minutes. Well, they missed it. Here was the operations executive response. Why didn't we plan for that? As if that question wasn't ludicrous enough, he doubled down. The follow-up question, how can we anticipate that problem? Well, gee, boss, I don't know how to anticipate when my employees got to go poo-poo. How am I supposed to anticipate that? Am I walking around going, what'd you have for lunch? Oh, Mexican today. Was it a taco salad or did you have the burrito? Do you have a little rumbly in your tumbly? Feel like you're a little gassy? Well, how long do you usually take when you have a bowel movement? You guys are laughing and cringing in the control room, but am I wrong? Studio audience? I mean, that's essentially, how do I anticipate when they got to go number 2? I don't know how to do that without crossing boundaries, being a creep. GoPuff adopted other pages from Amazon's playbook, including far more business meetings, making managers write up 6-page reports and then publicly criticizing and calling out employees. That's genius. By the way, ain't no warehouse job in the world that requires a 6-page report. It's 2022 Amazon execs or GoPuff execs who were formerly at Amazon. A 6-page report is like the teacher who wants you to hit a certain amount of words just because she feels like that's a good number, as opposed to tell me what's in the freaking book. Another GoPuff manager said the company's Amazon hires seem to take little interest, listen to this, in learning how did GoPuff do it previously. Hey, they got to $15 billion doing it the right way, but these new Amazon creeps come in and they're just like, we're going to do it the Amazon way. If a warehouse's queue time or delivery time missed the metric, managers have to write up a paper and deliver it in a bridge call, explaining why they missed it and how they fix it, which is how we got that whole interaction with how to anticipate when your employees have to go poo. We have an executive making, this is a direct quote from a former employee, we have an executive making $250,000 a year asking about an associate who's making $16 an hour and criticizing them for sitting down. Outside logistics experts say that when executives insist that pack times stay below a benchmark, managers would then redirect all employees to pack order. So it's an all hands on deck if we're behind on packing times. And again, as a customer, if you start packing something within 10 minutes of when I order it, I'm blown away. Well, here's the deal. If it's an all hands on deck, guess what happens? Everybody goes to start packing to stay up with these ridiculous metrics. And then there's nobody out there to receive shipments, which vendors then leave outside the warehouse. This contributes to GoPuff's chronic problem of leaving food sitting outside. Now, this is a great statement from a former leader at GoPuff who didn't like the Amazon tactics. When you're top to bottom metrics focused, there has to be an actual strategy and leadership and management guidance from the top. That didn't exist. It all was about by force, do whatever needed to hit the 3-minute metric. And this comes down to stupid rules that people just make, and there's no logic to the rule. My all-time favorite no logic rule was, you need to have your mask on here at the hostess stand. And we'd like you to wear the mask all the way to the table. But when you get to the table, you can take the mask off. Because that COVID little bugger's smart. He's polite. He will not infect you while you're eating. But boy, if you're in the hostess area, he's gonna whack you. Stupid rules, no logic. Amazon worker groups urge Congress to summon the Amazon CEO for a hearing. So now the Amazon workers are going, enough is enough. New article here, Forbes. More than 30 groups, including Amazon worker coalitions, labor organizations, and community groups, sent a letter to Congress on Thursday asking for them to convene a hearing and put the executives, specifically CEO Andy Jassy. I don't know Andy, but he's Bezos' replacement. And they want to put him on the stand. Why? In New Jersey, 3 workers have died in 3 weeks in the month of July. Over a 3-week period, 3 warehouse workers died at work in the warehouse. It was amid the rush of the company's famous Prime Day. 2 more deaths followed in different facilities. These events and incidents are under investigation. Shahryar Kayusi, executive director of the Warehouse Worker Resource Center, quoted in this article, said, the thing is, Amazon is first and foremost a data company. They, of all people, should know what's going on and why their injury rates are so high. Let me give you the rates. This is unbelievable. Despite Amazon founder and former CEO Jeff Bezos' public commitment to make Amazon's Earth's safest place to work, injuries among Amazon workers have increased year over year by 20% from 2020 to 2021 across the country. And acutely in states like in New Jersey, where injury rates at fulfillment centers increased by 54% year over year. In fact, Amazon leads in workplace injuries. The 2019 report found that workers at Amazon suffered serious injuries at rates 5 times the national average. You know why? because they work them like pack mules. And if you spend a couple minutes going poo, you're going to get in trouble. And you wonder why workplace injuries are happening. Let me tell you, frenetic pressure creates a lack of judgment. How can we anticipate better when our employees need to go poo? Gee, I don't know.
Do you know what you were born to do? In order to get hired at a job you love, you need to get clear on your talent, passion, and mission. That's why our team created the Career Clarity Guide. In just a few minutes, this free tool will walk you through a process to discover what you do best, that's your talent, the work you love to do, that's your passion, and the results that matter to you, your mission. Then you'll feel more confident throughout the job search process. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/clarity.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. I got to tell you, every once in a while, the YouTube chat room, these are people that are watching live on YouTube right now, and then they're in the chat room. They talk to each other. They talk about what I'm wearing. They're crazy. I love them. I call them the YouTube crazies. One of the chief crazies, Ralph Mendoza, had a funny comment that made me laugh because I was talking about stupid rules I hate. And this is funny. I got to give Ralph a shout out. He said, I could see Ken walking his way in the supermarket when they put arrows. And Ralph, you know me well. I remember when that first happened. I accidentally walked the wrong way because I was going down the refrigerated area and I see an arrow halfway down and I see a Kroger employee giving me the stink eye. I'm thinking to myself, I'm not bothering anybody. I'm just looking for the frozen pizzas. And I saw the arrow. And you know what I did? I just kept on walking. And then I chose to go down the wrong way, every aisle possible. Don't tell me which way I got to walk in the supermarket. Anybody, is that good enough for you? I don't like unnecessary rules. I don't even like the necessary rules, to be honest with you. Oh, I feel better now. Bailey's up in Fort Worth, Texas. Bailey, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
So I'm a new business owner, and I'm in a season of waiting. My business is dog breeding, and I want to breed dogs that are best fit as service dogs or therapy dogs for other people. So I'm not going to have puppies until next year. But in the meantime, I'm reading and learning as much as I can and creating content to get my name out there. What else should I be doing in this season of waiting to set myself up for success?
Oh, this is such a great question. First of all, I'm very excited for you, and I can't wait to see about those. When you get your first litter of pups, will you send the show a picture and I'll put it on the air. We'll show those beautiful little pups. Who doesn't love a good puppy, right?
Yes, I'd love to.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to your question because this is broad. This is for everybody today. In fact, Bailey's question is not just about her business. This is for everybody who is in a season of waiting. And I love that you put it that way. Because you are in a season, and the season isn't going to change. So what do you do now while you're waiting for those pups? I would give you three things. Number one, learning, and you're doing it. You're reading books, listen to podcasts, take webinars. If there's a conference, go to a conference about all things breeding animals, breeding puppies specifically. You become a human sponge. In this season of waiting, I need to always be learning. Always. If I'm trying to lose 150 pounds, which is no small feat, heck, if you're trying to lose 30, that's not easy. What am I doing? Well, while I'm trying to be disciplined in my eating and in my exercise, I'm learning more about nutrition and fitness. I'm learning, because it's going to take time to see big results. And so when I'm in this season, I want to stay in a place of interest. I want to stay in a place of learning and a place of humility. So I'm learning. Number two, dreaming. One of the things that kills us in the season of waiting is we begin to agonize because we see the future and then we immediately go into the now instead of just going, you know what? That first litter isn't the dream. It's the start of the dream, but I'm dreaming about the future. And when I dream about the future while I'm learning, I realize that I've got to be patient. When my mind is big, I have more patience. Does that make sense, Bailey? Because I'm going, hey, I want to have 10 litters and 20 litters, and eventually I want to have a little farm over here, and I become the number one breeder of breed X. Whatever your big dream is, you need to keep that front of mind all the time. And so the bigger the dream, the higher the mountain, the further out I'm looking, it actually allows me to be more disciplined and patient, as opposed to, well, gee, I want to run my first mile and I'd like to have a 10-minute mile. And so all I'm focused on is that first mile marker and that first litter, and you should be focused on more than that. And then I would also be preparing as it relates to, okay, what are some things I could be preparing right now in my business? Communication, systems, things of that nature. Things that keep me focused and keep me busy so that when things start to really run full time, I've long since thought about my systems, my practices. Does that make sense? The learning, the dreaming, and preparing?
Yes, it does.
Are you crying?
No, I'm just nervous.
Oh, well, you sound like you're either crying or smiling. Are you smiling?
I am smiling.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. I can hear a smile. Hey, I'm proud of you, Bailey. It's going to be awesome. You got this. Keep your eye on the finish line, and you will make it. Don't get distracted by mile 1, 3, or 4, the finish line.
You were created to fill a unique role through your work, but it can feel overwhelming to figure out what that is. That's why I created the Get Clear Career Assessment. In just 15 minutes, you'll get customized results that clarify what you do best, the work you love to do, and the results that motivate you. All this helps you discover what you were born to do. And you'll get a list of professional possibilities to help you in your job search. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/assessment.
Oh, yeah. Helping men and women do what they were born to do. Best job in the world. I'm Ken. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Hey, I talk about ZipRecruiter all the time because they're a great resource, which happens to be free for you. You don't have to spend any money. You can do your life and get opportunities. One of our listeners did it. Direct quote from Gabriella. I took Ken's advice. I went on ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Within days, I got a call from a recruiter. Shortly after that, 2 interviews with a well-known company, and I got the job. Never thought I'd get this gig. It's what I enjoy doing. It's in the industry that I want to be in. And I got a 45% pay bump with great benefits. Way to go, Gabriella. If you want to join the ranks of people doing work they love and not have to spend all of your day submitting resumes while you do life, ZipRecruiter.com/Ken, ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. All right, back to the phones. Columbia, Missouri. Jeremy is there. Jeremy, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How you doing?
I'm living the dream. What are you doing?
Looking for a new dream.
Attaboy. What's the new dream? Do we know?
I don't know. Kind of the short and quick of it. I've worked for family business for almost 20 years, and I've just gotten to the point where it's not what I want to do anymore.
Yep.
And I'm not sure which direction to go.
I get that you're not sure what direction to go, but I'm not sure I believe you that you don't have a couple of ideas, because a guy who sounds like you sound, you sound like your soul has slowly seeped out of your body. Is that true?
Yeah.
And I don't say that to judge you, brother. I say, man, time is now. You have felt obligated. Maybe you've been guilted into staying with the business. Is that true?
No. I told him about 4 or 5 years ago, I'd stay with him until my daughter graduated, and that was last May. So. Okay.
But you didn't feel obligated to work for the family business?
No, it was a job of convenience when I got out of high school.
All right, so a guy who's been doing a job of convenience that he fell into because the family had a job for 20 years has wondered about something. What have you wondered about? Jeremy, you have. I know you have. Don't feel insecure about it. Just tell me. It's not going to be silly. Listen, I cannot help you if you don't reveal what's already in your heart and in your head. And I know you've wondered about at least one professional track or two or three, even if it was when you were an adolescent and then for some reason you didn't feel confident to chase it. Tell me what's on your heart. You've been thinking about it, and I've given you more time. Now I'm putting you on the spot. There it is. See, there's the chuckle of confirmation. Tell me, what is it?
I've always liked traveling and always kind of wondered what it would be to be like a truck driver over the road. Or
fantastic. How's that feel to just get that out?
Good.
Feels like a burp, doesn't it? A good burp after a big soda, right? Oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
Let that out. Yeah, there you go. All right, now we got you loosened up. All right. So how would we go about kicking the tires on that? How would you learn a little bit more about being a truck driver? If you didn't have me, and I'm going to tell you, but I'm actually going to ask you because I think you know the answer.
I'd say just talk to other truck drivers and see which route I need to go to get into it.
There it is. He got it, folks. Talk to other truck drivers. Here it is right here in a #1 best-selling book called The Proximity Principle. I wrote an entire book on that one answer, Jeremy. The proximity principle is, or says, in order to do what Jeremy wants to do, he's got to be around people that are doing it and in places where that work is being done. Do you know anybody that drives a truck in Columbia, Missouri or in the surrounding areas?
Not personally currently, no.
Do you know somebody who knows somebody who drives a truck in the surrounding Columbia, Missouri area?
I do.
Absolutely. It's the phone call you make as soon as I hang up on you. I'm not going to hang up on you in an ugly way, but I am going to hang up on you. So what we're going to do is legitimately talk to somebody. It's called lunch or coffee. Hey, tell me about what you do, how long you've been doing it. It's like a book report. I mean, we're talking high school term paper here. Tell me the good. Tell me the bad. Tell me the traps. Tell me the temptations. How long does it take to get trained? How expensive is it? What's my schedule going to look like? What's a range of income I can expect in the first year to 2 years? Is there a lid? What's that look like? I mean, Jeremy, I got news for you. We still have a massive, massive need in the area of truck drivers. You could get hired tomorrow if you went into the interview half drunk. They need people. No, I'm joking. In case you say stuff like this that I think is obviously funny, and somebody on the comments will go, well, Ken's really reckless. He told that guy to go in half lit. No, I didn't. I'm making a joke. It's a joke. The point is, if you have some common sense and common decency and a good driving record, they'll hire you today. Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah? But before we do that, let's talk to a couple truck drivers. What's it like on your family? What could I transition from if I do this for 5 years? What's the insurance like? This is all fact-finding. And here's what you may find. You may find that the over-the-road long-haul stuff is not for you. But you may go, you know what? I can make really good money working for UPS or FedEx or DHL driving around my city. Or maybe I work for a local construction company doing deliveries and I make really good money and I'm home every night at 6 o'clock. But there's something about you that likes the idea of being in the cabin behind the wheel of a car, kind of autonomous. Yes, you got responsibilities, but there's something that speaks to you on this, yes?
Yeah.
Well, then go explore it. Now, here's the deal. Everything I just told you is about clarifying and verifying. Clarify and verify. Here's what I mean. Jeremy, when you go find out all the stuff that I just told you and you learn, here's what's going to happen. Your brain is taking in the information, that's the logic, and it's going to filter down to your heart. And your heart is either going to go, or it's that simple. When I learn everything there is to learn about a potential career or job or culture, my head processes, my heart confirms or denies. And I'm telling you this, and I'm having fun with the sound effects just to simplify this, folks. Listen to your heart. Jeremy, you're going to know after you gather information whether or not it feels like it's right. Because if you ask everything there is to ask about what the work is like, then your heart's going to say, I think we should do that. You got it?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, you kind of touched on one thing that kind of concerned me was the family aspect. Cause
Well, but see, now that's your values. Good.
I was kind of waiting for my daughter to graduate to do it, and now I'm married and have a 9-year-old stepdaughter, so I don't want to be away too much.
Okay, so now that's going to inform all the information that you gather. That's a value. You value being around for your 9-year-old stepdaughter. So you're asking a lot of questions around schedule and flexibility of schedule. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
This is going to be easy, man. And like I said, there's a difference between driving long-haul 18-wheelers where maybe you're gone 20-some days a month or more and driving a Coca-Cola truck locally. So we're not going to put all of our eggs in one basket. We go, here's what we know. I like driving. I like being in the car, listening to music or podcasts and not a lot of people bothering me. I like to show up, drop the stuff off, and leave. I'm a man of few words. Is that an accurate description of you, Jeremy? I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. Versus me, I'd be a terrible delivery driver, right? As I'd roll up, hey, man, I got a whole truck of Coke here. You guys like the Coke? When do you drink the Coke? How many Cokes do you sell? I'm too curious. I like talking to people. They'd be like, hey, man, we just want you to drop the Coke. Would you please stop talking to us? You know what I mean? So, Jeremy, you got this, okay, dude? You got this?
I got this.
Hey, when this phone call's over, I want you to do two things. Number one, I want you to take a deep breath and go, okay, this is not going to be stressful. This is not going to be crazy move in my life. I'm going to be able to exit the family business and do what I want to do, and it's going to be okay. That's the deep breath. The second thing I want you to do is call everybody you know that knows a truck driver and start setting up coffees and lunches, because I know this about truck drivers. They'll take a free sandwich every day of the week and twice on Sunday. All right, folks, I got to get out of here, but before I do, I want to remind you, you matter. You have what it takes. Press on.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.